Welcome to Intuitive Transformations with your host, Sylvia Henderson, and discover tools, wisdom, and inspiration that will empower you to transform your life. Sylvia is an intuitive life coach and energy healer with a growing practice that is focused on empowering others to be more of who they want to be. For the next hour, join Sylvia and explore and unravel anything in the way of you creating the life that you would love to live on the OMTimes Radio Network.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Intuitive Transformations radio show, where you will find tools you can use to transform and change your life. I'm Sylvia Henderson, your host, and as you know, I'm here every Sunday evening at 9 p.m. Eastern Time live, right here on OMTimes Radio, the voice of consciousness. Here's what's so great about OMTimes Radio. This really is the place you want to be, and here's why this is true. Because OMTimes Radio is where you can find a wide selection of entertaining and consciously aware programs like Inspired Living with Mark and Kim, who I just ran into Mark at the Boeing Parapsychology Fair in Seattle, Washington. So I got to meet one of my OMTimes hosts, and that was really fun. And Mark and Kim are on every Wednesday at 3 p.m. Eastern. And then there's my good friend Sarah Nash, who I love and adore, and she has a radio show called Radio Namaste, and you don't want to miss her. She is the blue-collar goddess, and she's always got something fun and enlivening to share. And so what's great about it is that you can access these programs as well as consciously selected music for your listening pleasure 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, and we have a wonderful archival system. So if you miss any of the shows live, you can always go to the OMTimes Radio archives, and you can find all of the past shows there. And there's some really good ones with a broad array of hosts, as I just mentioned before. And if you're tuning into my show for the very first time, I want you to know that the Intuitive Transformations Radio show is all about connecting with creative and conscious minds on a soul-to-soul level and sharing valuable information and resources that will inspire all of you listening to expand into more of who you truly are so that you can step boldly into more of what you love and desire to receive and experience in your personal life. Because here's the truth. Real change begins within. It's not out there, folks. It starts on the inside out. So be sure to like this show on Facebook and tweet about the show if you think that any of your friends or followers would enjoy learning more about Intuitive Transformations Radio or any of the other fantastic shows that are available on OMTimes. We've got to get the word out there that there are positive and uplifting conversations happening right here to inspire, support, and enliven your life. If you'd like to know more about me and what I do, visit my website at intuitivetransformations.net. That's intuitive, INTUITIVE, transformations with an S.net. And if you're on my website, take advantage of a complimentary 15-minute phone consultation, and that includes a free 15-minute Akashic record reading and energy clearing to kind of help balance you and get you back on even keel. Just 15 minutes can really make a big difference, and that's something I just gift to you, my listeners. If any of you have been feeling a little off or even kind of completely out of sorts lately, I just want you to know, for those of you who are really into astrology, apparently Venus has gone retrograde as of yesterday. I'm not sure what that exactly means because I'm not an astrologer, but I will tell you this. Yesterday was a little bit of an emotional upheaval. I can't even say it. Emotional upheaval for me, and that's kind of unusual. I know we've had a lot of twists and turns on the planet and vibrational shifts and emotional stuff purging so people can release and heal. Yesterday kind of caught me off guard. So if you're feeling a little out of sorts or like the universe is playing a little bit of a tug of war with you right in the middle, I want you to know that today's show is going to be absolutely perfect for you because it's not an accident that you're here. You are definitely here by divine appointment. And you're listening to today's show because you've been called to do so. We're going to share something really important and valuable, and that is going to be helpful as you expand into more of what you want to experience in your life. We're going to talk about this book called The Map to Our Responsive Universe, Where Dreams Really Do Come True, written by Boni Lonnsburry. You see that, and the reason for this is because no matter what's going on vibrationally on the planet or even in your astrological chart, the absolute truth is that you and you alone are the creator of your own reality. And we do live in a responsive universe. And within this universe, we do have the power and the potential to create our dreams or allow our dreams to manifest and come to fruition and actually step into them and live that on a regular basis. So we live in a universe where dreams really can come true. And Boni's personal story is evidential proof that will encourage and inspire you to dream big and to step into a life that you love to live. So before I bring Boni on the air, I want to tell you a little bit more about her. Boni Lonnsburry is the CEO of Inner Art, Inc. She is the author of Life on Planet Earth, the user's manual. And I tell you, this is a user's manual that I wish every parent got when they had a child. It might help the world on a major level. So that, anyway, I won't go down that road. And she's also the author of the best-selling book, The Map to Our Responsive Universe, Where Dreams Really Do Come True. She is an expert on conscious creation, and by applying the universal laws of attraction, Boni actually transformed the poverty, loneliness, and despair in her own personal life into abundance, love, and joy. Boni's personal journey led her to develop this system called the MAP, which is the same system that she used to turn her dream into reality, both financially and emotionally. After hitting rock bottom in her 40s, Boni spent years studying and mastering conscious creation. And she has shown thousands of people how to manifest their dreams. And she shares her system that is a step-by-step system, easy to follow, of self-discovery in her book called The Map. As a result, Boni has been featured on several local ABC, CBS, NBC, and even Fox morning news shows. And she's been featured in Awareness Magazine, Aquarius Magazine, and the Simple Steps Real Change Magazine. So Boni Lonnsburry, welcome to the show.
Well, thanks so much, Sylvia. It's an honor to be here.
Well, it is absolutely an honor to have you here. And I'm so excited because we really need to get our arms around this thing that we know we can do, this conscious creation. Creation is something that never really turns off, but to do it consciously is something that I think we have always kind of struggled with.
Well, I certainly did. That's for sure. And I think most people do. You hear about the law of attraction and it gets you really excited. And it's like, oh my gosh, if I could, have some control over my life and my world, wouldn't that be fabulous? And so you go out and you try to think positive and you try to, put those dreams together and do the vision board and then something awful happens and you go, yeah, okay, right. It's work tomorrow. Let's get back to what I have to do to keep food on the table and the wolves away from the door. And that's disappointing.
It is disappointing. It's disheartening because it kind of takes the juice away from that momentum when you do your great vision board. And I tell you, I've hosted vision board parties. I've gone to vision board. I have a couple of them. And there are some things that have, that definitely have manifested. In pretty quick time frame as well. But it's like, I want all of those little dots to be connected and come to pass. And I think some of it is that there's some things that you point out in your book, the map, that create some hindrances to really allowing the whole board to light up for us.
Exactly. It's not that the vision board is ineffective. It's very effective if it's done properly and fully. And this was what I really wanted to bring across in the map, is that this works all the time. It never doesn't work. That law of attraction is like the law of gravity.
Right.
And you never see houses and people floating.
That's true. Know? That's true. There's no off switch with that, is there?
No, there isn't. And there's not with that law of attraction either. It's just a matter of learning how to make it work for you.
Wow. And so I would love for you to share just kind of an overview of how, because I know that's everyone's burning question. It's like, okay, we pointed out like where we get disconnected and why it's not really working, or we lose steam, or everything's not lighting up on the vision board. And I know that the number one burning question that everyone has who is listening is, how did you do it? How did you change your life so dramatically? And before you answer that question, I know we're going to go into a break in just a moment, but when we come back, I want you to share, how did you change your life so dramatically? How did you go from being broke, alone, jobless? And when I say broke, didn't you even file bankruptcy? Is that correct?
Yeah, I did. My house was in foreclosure, and I ended up filing bankruptcy.
Wow.
And it was a dark time. So,
wow.
Yeah.
So you were literally almost homeless, because as you talk about in your book, and then you were able to move from that to becoming an owner of a multi-million-dollar business, married to the man of your dreams, and living a life that you love financially and emotionally. So when we come back, Boni, I want you to answer those questions for us. And everyone listening, please stay tuned. This is a show. You're not here by accident. You're here by divine appointment. The show is going to change your life. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few moments.
A conscious lifestyle for a mindful life. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM. Host your show on IOM FM, the radio network of OMTimes Media, one of the more recognized brand names in the conscious community, and is backed by the extensive marketing reach of OMTimes. Hosting a show on IOM FM immediately connects you with our extensive dedicated community.
Circle of Hearts Radio is a sanctuary on the airwaves. Join me, Grandmother Elia, in the circle on Sunday, 2 p.m. Eastern, as I share information to both enlighten and nourish your soul.
Matt Connerton here. Join Jen Coffey and I twice a week for Matt Connerton Unleashed, a political talk show that's a little different than what you're used to. No liberal or conservative agenda here, just an honest dialogue about truth and how things really work in the world of politics. Matt Connerton Unleashed, every Tuesday and Thursday night at 11 p.m. Eastern on OMTimes Radio.
Simone Milasas would like you to know that business can be fun, which is why she wrote the book, Joy of Business. What if you could have the joy of business rather than the stress and struggle? Most of the time, the only thing stopping you from a thriving business is you. In the Joy of Business book, Simone gives you access consciousness tools and pragmatic ways to get out of your own way and to create the business, life, and living you know is possible and beyond what this reality says is achievable. Business is joy. It's creation. It's generative. It can be the adventure of living. You can purchase your copy of the book through Amazon or Joy of Business website, www.accessjoyofbusiness.com. The best of holistic, spiritual, and conscious world. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
Welcome back, everyone. You're listening to Sylvia Henderson on OMTimes Radio. That's IOM iom.fm in your internet browser. And I have with me here Boni Lonnsburry. We're talking about her book, The Map. And before we went into a break, I had just asked Boni to share with all of you listening probably the number one burning question that I think everyone has on their mind, and that is, how did she change her life so dramatically? How did she go from being broke, alone, jobless, and literally almost homeless to becoming the owner of a multimillion-dollar business, married to the man of her dreams, and living a life that she loves financially and emotionally? So, Boni, now that we're back from the break, would you mind just filling the listeners in?
Sure. I came to the knowledge, the knowing of the law of attraction late in life, relatively speaking. I get letters all the time from 15 and 16-year-olds. And I was 30 by the time I discovered that we create our own reality. And it hit me like a ton of bricks. I remember sitting up in bed, just bolt upright, thinking, oh my God, I know this is true. Somehow I know this is true. And this could change everything in my entire life. And suddenly everything was possible. And it took me another 10 years to even begin to apply it. And in that time, I went from an okay life to a life in shambles, just in shambles. So it obviously wasn't just by knowing that it was possible that it happened. It was really, I was studious. I read everything I could. I did as much spiritual work as I could, as much clearing and growing and healing as I possibly could. And it still wasn't working. I was, I found myself, like you said, on the verge of bankruptcy, and my house literally was in foreclosure, and I didn't have a job. I was trying desperately to work a multi-level marketing company, and spending every single cent of credit that I had buying leads with the hope that I could pull it out of the ashes. And even if I managed to sell something, they wanted their money back within
you're
3
kidding.
days. No, I'm not kidding. I mean, it was dire. It was dire.
And this is after knowing and some of the studying you had done.
A lot of the studying I had done
Wow.
at that point, yes. And so I found myself spiraling into negativity, and I'm sure everyone can relate to this because we've all done it at one point or another in our lives.
I just did it yesterday.
See? Well, I did it for quite a long time, and it did get worse. And I finally said, okay, this is ridiculous. Every day is just spent in fear. Every day is spent in desperation, and I dread hearing the phone ring. I dread going to the mailbox. I dread every morning because I'm just expecting bad news. And of course, what do I get more of with that kind of energy?
Whatever you
More
focus
bad
on
news.
expands, right?
Exactly. And so what I did, Sylvia, to change it was I just stopped trying. I literally stopped trying to create. And I said, even if I'm a bag lady, even if I have to live on the streets, even if my worst fears come true, at least I can choose my emotional state.
That's so important.
It is important. And I sat there one morning and I had my cup of mocha and I had my cat on my lap and I knew my 2 sons were safe and I still had a roof over my head, even though it might not be there, the next year or the next 6 months. At the time I did. And I thought, why am I spending all of this emotional energy and just ruining my life worrying about the future when right here, right now, I'm okay. And you know what? Right here, right now, I could choose to be happy just for today and let tomorrow bring what tomorrow brings. But damn it, I want to choose to be happy this day.
So this is quite, a feat to be able to step into that with such a very compelling reality that there was really not much for you to be happy about. And yet you were able to step into that emotional state of happiness and that vibration and choosing it. So I know you talk a little bit about that in the book, but what what were some of the things that you did without the book being written yet, that helped you to make that shift? Because I'm sure, was it a light bulb moment, or was it a process, or how did you make that first jump from feeling a little overwhelmed, probably a lot overwhelmed with everything going on, to where I'm going to be happy in spite of?
Actually, Sylvia, I was just sick and tired of feeling sick and tired.
I love that.
I was just so over feeling afraid every single day. I was just done with it. And so it was just being totally fed up. And in a way, I gave up. But I didn't give up on life, and I just gave up on feeling bad and on the stupid law of attraction at that point, quite honestly, because I was trying so hard, and I just kept looking at the results and saying, I'm not making it, I'm not making it, I'm not making it. And so I just shifted to saying, it doesn't matter if you make it. There are some things that are going really, really right today, right here, right now. And I looked out the window and saw the mountains of Colorado. And I walked down the street and saw the flower beds of my neighbors. And there's a lot to be grateful for, even when things are crappy.
I'm glad we're having this conversation, because I think that is where the law of attraction kind of gets a bad rap. There's so much information about, you just do this and you just do that and you just do this. And guess what? Everything is flowers and, stardust. And it's that conscious choice. And what I love too, because it sounds like what you're saying is that I'm just done with feeling the fear and just, and living from that vibration. Being in the present moment allowed you to be aware of what was going on. And it sounds like what they always say, happiness and being in the power of now, or being in the present moment, is really, they correlate. It's important.
It is important, but it's not the whole map. And that's important too. Positive thinking has been like the be all and end all for the 60s and 70s and 80s and 90s. Mm-hmm. And yes, it's important. And yes, it reset me emotionally so that I was free to create.
Right.
But it didn't create the dream. I had to dream the dream. I had to walk the rest of the map in order to make things really shift. And they've shifted dramatically. At this point in time, I live half time in Boulder overlooking the city and the mountains, and half time in the Bahamas on the ocean. They shifted really dramatically.
I would love that right now.
And you can have it. And
I believe
everyone can.
Yeah.
Every single person on this planet is equally powerful if they know how to harness that power.
So let's talk about the map a little bit, because you're right. That's not the whole thing. It's not about the thinking positive. And really, it's about that feeling, that vibration of being in the moment, because I'm just not going to choose to go down that road. But there are some very specific step-by-step things that you outline in the book. And I think one of the first things you talk about is know who you are.
Yes. The step one of the map is to really, even if you can't fully drop into it emotionally, know it cognitively. Every person on this planet is divine. Every person on this planet is a spark of God and Goddess. Mm-hmm. And by that ownership, then you can take it one step further to know that you have been given the gift of creation in this illusion.
What I really enjoyed about your book is you didn't stop there. You pointed out a number of things that we forget when we come into this incarnation, about the power of who we really are as these spiritual beings, being in a physical reality or illusion. I agree that it's an illusion, as you pointed out in the book, because I'm a Course in Miracles student. And so what's out here is just a projection. It's really the truth of everything is what's inside. And I do appreciate you putting that in there, because it gives people a few more legs to stand on than just that you are divine.
Yeah. And there is a lot more depth to that, and we only have an hour in the show. So.
I know. We
Unfortunately.
do. We only have an hour. Can you talk about number 2? Know what you want to create.
Yeah, this is a really important step, I think, because most people aren't really clear on what they want to create. And there's a lot of people who have come up to me and said, Boni, I don't have any idea. I want to live a life I love, but I have no clue what that is. I don't know what my passion is. I don't know what to dream. I don't know what to want. And I say, lucky you. Lucky you. Because the minute you try to pigeonhole it into one specific thing, you cut out so much of what the universe can give you. You don't need to know what you want. You only need to know how you want to feel in each area of your life. And everybody knows that. Mm-hmm. Everybody knows that.
Yeah.
And this is what I did way back when I was down and out and destitute. Mm-hmm. The minute I decided to be happy, Sylvia, I got a temp job for 2 days a week at $10 an hour. Now, we all know what that netted me.
And then there's taxes taken out.
Yeah, it wasn't even enough to pay my rent. But what I did was every morning I would go to this different temp place, and I would sit in my car, and I would be there early, and I would have this little meeting with my higher self and future self and my subconscious mind. And I would tell them how I wanted to feel that day and ask for their help in feeling that way. And I would say, I want to feel prosperous. And this is what prosperous feels like. And I would imagine my bank account with lots of zeros. And I want to feel excited. And this is what excited feels like. And I would feel how at the end of the day, I would be like, oh, yes, that was so much fun. I want to do it again tomorrow.
I love that.
That's what started to change things.
So how much time did you spend doing that? I mean, this was just like a quick 5-minute, let me run through this before I go in there and apply for the next temp job, or?
5 or 10 minutes. And yeah, it was at the temp job. But within 2 weeks, I got a full-time job. And within 2 years, I took $50 and incorporated my company, which was a $5 million company just a few years later.
Now, that's what I call exponential growth. $50 into a $5 million company. That is astounding. So we're getting ready to go into another break in just a moment. And I just want to remind everyone that you're listening to Intuitive Transformations with Sylvia Henderson on OMTimes Radio. And I have with me my guest, Boni Lonnsburry, and she's sharing with you the magic of her map. This is a map to conscious creation so that you can create a life that you love to live. We'll be back. Stay tuned.
The cutting edge of conscious radio, OMTimes Radio, IOM FM. Being a radio host on IOM FM allows you to build your show on a rich platform with the power of the internet to fulfill your outreach goals and connect with a very specialized and global online audience, unlimited by time and distance. OMTimes Radio will provide you with web relevance, a recognizable conscious brand, and with the standard of excellence that has accompanied every single OMTimes endeavor. Host your show with OMTimes Radio Network. Join Elliot Jollish, the business therapist, each Tuesday at 5 p.m. Eastern for the Elliot Jollish Hour, as he interviews business experts on your behalf. And you're invited to email your business questions to questions@ecjgroup.com for answers, live, on air every Tuesday at 5 p.m. Eastern on the Elliot Jollish Hour.
Welcome to The Gathering Around My Kitchen Table on Equilarium FM, Wednesdays at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Join my guests as we integrate spirituality into everyday reality with vibrant conversations, inspired interviews, and my latest channeled guidance to inspire and brighten your day. I'm Claire Johnson, and together we'll be raising vibrations across the nations.
As difficult as it is to believe, there are places in Africa where human traffickers sell albino children and their body parts for use in magic rituals. Humanity Healing International is actively working in Uganda to change this paradigm. The Albino Rescue Project finds albino children who are at risk and places them in safe schools and environments where they can learn and grow free from fear. To learn more or to sponsor a child, visit humanityhealing.org. Humanity Healing is where your heart is. The future of Internet radio is here. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
Welcome back to Intuitive Transformations with Sylvia Henderson, and I have Boni Lonnsburry. We're talking about her wonderful guidebook, her step-to-step book called The Map. And before we went to the break, we were just talking about step number 2 of the map, which is knowing what you want to create. And Boni was sharing how actually, if you don't know, that actually works to your benefit. It's like once you know, you kind of limit what could be possible. I think that we tend to ask for not enough. Boni, what do you think?
I couldn't agree with you more. Most people have no clue. Their power is unlimited, and if you can imagine something, you can create it. But most people, try to pigeonhole it. Oh, I want a car. What kind of car should I get? I want a job. What kind of job should I go for? Instead of saying, I want a job that makes me feel just so excited to get up every morning. I just can't wait till it's Monday. I hate when it's Friday. I feel so valued and so appreciated and so creative there and so loved and so much great camaraderie and so many wonderful creative ideas and the abundance just flows. I mean, wow. Let the universe figure it out, right?
Yeah, and I could feel the vibrational shift as you were sharing that. You could feel the high energy. I hope you all listening could feel that, how that resonates versus I want a job that makes X dollar amount, doing X, Y, Z.
And you can have both.
You can.
You can have both. And most people think, well, I've got to go for the money and I've got to go for what I do well, and I've got to go for what is on my resume. And if you let it go and let the universe figure it out for you, you will be so surprised that it can come up with something that you didn't even imagine existed.
Wow.
And that's what's really cool.
Yay. I love it. So I want to go because, gosh, I can't believe how fast the time is going. So number 3 is about flowing energy. That's another step of the map. What exactly is flowing energy, especially for people that have never heard of such a concept, let alone haven't had a chance to read your book yet?
Yes. Well, step 2, knowing what you want, you write intentions. So you write intentions for how you want to feel in all the areas of your life. And step 3 is about flowing energy towards those intentions. So sitting down like I did in those morning meetings with my higher self and future self and subconscious mind, I felt for them how I wanted to feel during the day. And it was shocking, quite honestly, because even in that short period of time, I would walk into temp jobs that were so exciting and fun, I couldn't believe it. And I had such a great time as a temp. I mean, I would be like working on maps of Africa and reorganizing people's office space. And I was just doing some really, for me, fun things.
Fun, creative things. That's awesome.
Yeah. So flowing energy is about feeling the way you want to feel, flowing energy towards either in technique or just, regularly, thinking about it and dreaming about it towards your dream. But also flowing energy is taking a look at what you're flowing towards your nightmares.
Yeah, you talk a little bit about that too. You talk about, and I love how you provide antidotes to those, those emotional states like blame, doubt.
Yeah, because here's the deal, Sylvia, and we haven't really spoken about this yet. So let me really make it clear for everyone. The law of attraction works from your emotions. And many people think, well, it's your thoughts that create. It's just your beliefs that create. No, it's your thoughts and your feelings, but it's the feeling state that is the actual creator. And beliefs are thoughts and feelings that are so frozen within you that you're kind of flowing that energy of your belief 24/7. So it's the emotional state that's the creator. So if you're sitting around in self-pity and victimhood and blame and doubt and fear, guess what you're creating?
You're absolutely right. In psychology, they have this kind of, or maybe it's Tony Robbins, I can't remember, but there's this circle of where your judgments create beliefs, your beliefs create your thoughts create your emotions, and then your emotions create your judgments. So it's kind of this cycle. So, but you're saying that so what do you think is the most important to focus on in terms of breaking that cycle? The emotions?
Well, two things. Mm-hmm. Two things. First thing, the easy thing is just be conscious of what you're feeling.
Yeah.
You don't have to think about every single thought, but, even if you have to set a timer on your watch every 15 minutes, am I staying in joy? Am I staying in happiness? Am I staying in excitement, in these positive states of emotions? And if you're not, there's a reason you're not. And maybe it's habit, and that's why you do the 15-minute thing. Mm-hmm. But if it's not habit, if it's something deeper, it's a belief. And ferreting out those negative beliefs, I'm telling you, Sylvia, that is like the holy grail of the law of attraction.
It is. Because they're subconscious. They're beneath the surface, most of them, right?
Exactly. And they will sabotage you until you go and root them out, take them out, and substitute something else. And it's not hard to do, folks. It's not hard to do. It's very easy to do.
And you also categorize beliefs into 3 different levels in your book.
Mm-hmm.
And so is that because, well, I know that the level 3 is the core beliefs. Are those more challenging than the level 1 or the level 2?
Yeah, I really wanted to do this because some teachers have taught that, you just change your thoughts and you change your beliefs. Just keep
I know. It's just so simple.
Over and over again. Your beliefs, well, you know that it doesn't work that way, right?
Right.
How many of us have tried to do that?
Exactly.
And so, I broke it down into 3 levels to help explain. If you have a level 1 belief, a really light belief, and I live in Boulder half time, and so, a lot of people have the belief that it snows a lot in Denver, that, it's a really snowy place.
Or it rains a lot in Seattle.
Yeah, but it doesn't really snow a lot in Denver. It snows a lot in the mountains. So all you need to do is get a little information. Level 1 beliefs shift like that. Okay? Mm-hmm. Those are the ones you can change by just your thoughts. Mm-hmm. Level 2 beliefs are more deeply ingrained. Like, it's hard to make money. You can't trust men or women. The universe has only so much abundance. So those are more deeply ingrained, and you might have 2 beliefs that are actually in conflict with each other. So your spiritual self, who wants to believe the universe has unlimited abundance, might say, of course there's unlimited abundance, but maybe there's a belief that was ingrained in your being when you were 7 years old and there wasn't enough food to go around, or there wasn't enough money to go to the candy store on Saturday with your friends, and you also believe that it only has so much abundance. So obviously the positive belief isn't hurting you, but the negative one is. So I teach, ways to go and change that. And the level 3 beliefs, really you only have 1 or 2 of these. These are very rare, but they're so pervasive in your entire being. It's vital to go and take a look at these and change them, and their beliefs about ourselves, who we are at the core.
I was going to say, it's all about your sense of self, your identity. Yeah.
Yes, and they affect everything that you create. Everything. So if you really believe, and I did for a long time, that I'm not good enough, boy, I had to earn every penny I made. I had to prove my worth to everybody around me, and it was exhausting.
And that's the most common belief system I think that people carry is the I'm not good enough, especially women.
I do too, yes.
Yeah.
And it comes in different flavors, I don't deserve, I'm not worthy. There are different renditions that, you find the one that really resonates with you. But it really is the core of the issues that we have. So, taking a look at where we're flowing negative energy in the form of beliefs and emotions, And then, changing those and then flowing some energy towards what we want. So, it's not just like we said before, it's not just about being happy. It's about dreaming the next dream. It's not just about getting rid of your negative beliefs. It's about flowing some energy towards what you do want, even after you've changed them to positive beliefs.
Right. And, just to clarify for everyone once again, when you're setting intentions, it's not so much about, I want a new Ferrari. It's how that Ferrari would make you feel. You want to focus on how you would feel if you had that. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
I think that's something that gets glazed over, that people don't get. It's like, but if I focus on this house, I'll get it, right? No, it's how does the house make you feel?
And oftentimes, Sylvia, like I write in the map is this, 7-step process, but it's not always linear. So as you're, looking at, for instance, if you wanted the Ferrari, you're looking at how would the Ferrari make me feel? Why do I want this? And if one of the reasons you want it is to feel good enough, well, ding, 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 ding,
feel good enough
to a belief that you don't feel good enough, that the core belief is I have to prove it. Somehow something on the outside has to prove that I'm worthy, that I'm good enough, that I deserve.
Exactly.
And I don't really want the Ferrari. What I really want is to feel okay.
Right.
In who I am, with who I am.
Yeah.
So then you go backwards to, let's go change that belief, and then go, back to what do I really want? Well, I want a car that's fun and exciting, and I love to drive, and is smooth and dependable, and that's all.
So real quick, what are the other 4 steps?
Well, after
go ahead.
Flowing energy is number 3. Step 4 is taking action in the world. So when you have it just in your head, there's only so far you can go with it. And taking action in the world really is a proving ground for your dream. And it also gets you into the 3rd dimension and starting to do it, which can give you all kinds of valuable information, and it puts forth great positive energy.
That's awesome. Because there is, you talk about it being inspired action. Yes. And I think that there's a big distinction between just doing something because you feel like you're compelled to do something versus really receiving that inward inspiration. When we return, we're getting ready to go into another break. When we return, I'm going to have Boni share steps 5, 6, and 7. So please stay tuned. You're listening to Intuitive Transformations on OMTimes Radio. Sylvia Henderson here with Boni Lonnsburry. Please stay tuned. There's so much more to come.
Bringing you the best of the conscious minds in the world. OMTimes Radio, your conscious lifestyle on steroids. Host your show on IOM-FM, the radio network of OMTimes Media, one of the more recognized brand names in the conscious community, and is backed by the extensive marketing reach of OMTimes. Hosting a show on IOM-FM immediately connects you with our extensive dedicated community.
What if living didn't have to be so serious?
What if you could move beyond your problems with greater confidence and ease than you've ever imagined?
Throw your labels out the window and join the Irreverent Therapist for practical tips and a very different way of approaching the changes you would like to create.
Marilyn Bradford
and Pam Hodling
have empowered hundreds of people to come out of self-judgment, quit looking to experts, and begin to create the lives they desire.
Join us Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern on the Irreverent Therapist Show.
Do you have time to read that inspiring book or that blog post you've been meaning to get to? In your busy world, how do you improve yourself and keep your life going? I'm Lisa Kay, and my Between Heaven and Earth radio show can transform your life just by listening. Be uplifted with inspiring topics, positive stories, and ideas that really work. Between Heaven and Earth Radio is conscious living for your soul. Every Wednesday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time.
OMTimes magazine is one of the leading online content providers of positivity, wellness, and personal empowerment. A philanthropic organization, their net proceeds are funneled to support worldwide charity initiatives via Humanity Healing International. Through their commitment to creating community and providing conscious content, they aspire to uplift humanity on a global scale. OMTimes, co-creating a more conscious lifestyle. Conscious media for conscious minds. OMTimes.
Welcome back, everyone. Before we went into the break, Boni was just jumping in to share the last few steps of the map, which is her fantastic book. It's called The Map to Our Responsive Universe, Where Dreams Really Do Come True. And you can get this just about anywhere a book is sold. Isn't that correct? Amazon, Barnes & Noble?
Yes, and any digital bookstore, you can get it on my website. It's in Kindle
as well?
It sure is. It's on all the digital forms, and it comes in paperback.
Fantastic. And before we continue with more details about the map, can you let people know how they can get in touch with you?
Sure. The easiest way is on my website, livealifeyoulove.com. I'm also on Facebook, and you can type Boni Lonnsburry into Facebook, but livealifeyoulove.com is an easier way because most people misspell my name.
And then they can also sign up for this fantastic newsletter, which I signed up for. And you offer for free 365 days of the map designed to support people and help everyone stay on track as a conscious creator on a daily basis, right?
Yes, that is actually, we're switching over email systems, and so that will be back online soon. But I also have messages from your unseen friends and blog posts and lots of other goodies on the website, as well as a dream builder kit that's absolutely free to get people started on that dream.
I love that. I love free stuff. And I know everybody loves free stuff. And, you know, I have to tell you, I was going to talk about the emails from unseen friends because I guess I signed up for it and I didn't realize it. All of a sudden I got this email saying, from your subconscious mind. And I'm like, what? You know? And I read it and it was exactly what I needed to hear. I mean, the messages from the unseen friends they're just so supportive and so nurturing, and the loving words that we just need to bathe in vibrationally. So it's just such a gift to be able to tap into that as a resource. And then you have a creation school that's going to be available online soon.
Yes, that's coming up the beginning of next year. Creationschool.com is where you'll find more information. And if you're on any of the email lists, you'll get notification of that.
That's going to be very exciting to get into that because I tell you, Boni, anybody who can change their life the way you have and from reading your book has a really good handle on how to do this that's replicatable. You know, it's not just going to work for a couple of people. I mean, if you follow these steps, folks, you're going to really see changes in your life. I mean, like Boni, I've studied this stuff for years too, and it's been difficult to find such a very nice, neatly tied up, concise model like she's presented in her book. So I really encourage you to get her book, The Map to Our Responsive Universe, Where Dreams Really Do Come True. So going back to the map, Boni, I think, did we stop on number 5?
Yes, we covered 4, inspired action, and number 5 is look for the response. So you've got this dream started, you've flowed some energy towards it, and looked at some beliefs that might be stopping you, and you have taken some action in the world. The next step is letting the universe change your reality. And most people think, well, I don't know, I dreamt something, a year ago and it's not here yet. No. Within days, you should see a response from any powerful technique. Now, on the website, Live a Life You Love, you'll you can Google or search for the technique 1 Minute Manifester, and I walk you through exactly how to do a technique that takes just 1 minute. And if you do this technique, and within 3 days, 2-3 days, even sometimes less than that, you will see a sign from the universe that in your reality is changing because of you, because you've changed. And most people either blow off or don't recognize these little signs that happen that quickly. And, you know, that step 5 is about looking for the signs, looking for the signs. So, you know, for instance, if you want to create more abundance, more financial cash in your life, and you end up just finding, you know, a nickel on the sidewalk, the common response is, oh, look at that, a nickel. That'll buy me a lot of nothing. Not even worth bending over to pick that up. Well, you know, if you did a technique that morning and you find a nickel that afternoon, that's a sign.
That's evidence.
If you pick it up and say, hey, a nickel, look at this. This must be a sign that my intention to have more abundance is working.
Absolutely.
If I can create a nickel, I can create 1 million nickels, 1 billion nickels. And that encourages the flow. It puts out more flow of I am willing and deserve and claim abundance. And then you do another technique and you'll get more signs and more signs and more signs until the entire dream manifests. And so that's my favorite step.
I love that. You know, that's one of the things, too, I appreciated about your book was how the variety of techniques and the variety of tools that you offer, because it's not just about, oh, you do 1 through 7 steps and ta-da. No, you can do it this way. You can do it that way. You can, whatever, you know, appeals to the reader. And so you just offer so much there. So what is step number 6?
Step number 6 is, you know, you spend this time creating your dream consciously, and you do the work that's, you know, outlined in the book. And what about the rest of the time? You're still flowing energy all day long. So the rest of the time is about, step 6 is about the rest of the time staying in joy and staying in the present moment. And if you can, feeling as if you already have the dream. And this is, you know, really, really important, because you can't, you know, do a technique and then go back to your self-pity. Right. You can't, you know, do a technique and then go back to complaining that, you know, you've got this rotten life.
Yeah.
You've got to stay at least emotionally neutral to allow the dream to come in.
Right.
So,
because we're constantly creating. It never turns off. And that's the difference. This is constantly creating from a conscious point of view versus just based upon your belief systems.
Yeah, we're all creating unconsciously until we learn to create consciously. And at first, it's takes some work. It's not something that just happens. And, you know, you can read the book and, oh, my life has changed. Even though thousands of people have contacted me who read the book and their lives started to change, you've got to keep up the work.
It's the consistency.
It really is.
Yeah. So what about step 7?
Well, step 7 is an optional step, and it's about asking those unseen friends to help you.
Oh, goody.
Because, you know, there's so much help there, and why not?
Right.
Our unseen friends can't help unless we ask, because that's part of the laws of this universe that we live in. Even though it's responsive, it's hands off from unseen friends unless we ask.
I agree. So, I always tell my clients this is an ask and receive universe. And you will not receive unless you ask. That's just how it works.
That is how it works. That is how it works. And we put forth our own energy, but we can have that magnified. We can have it amplified. We can have so much help, and our unseen friends will, you know, kind of gently show us the beliefs that we have and kind of gently give us some ideas on which way to go next and what we might want to, you know, dream of and for. But we have to ask them. So step 7 is just about asking those unseen friends for help and ideally making that a habit.
And the other thing is, too, is also noticing, I think, when you ask, expecting to see some results as a result of the asking.
Absolutely. And this is something I did early in my growth. before I really had a good relationship with my unseen friends was I would ask them for signs. I would ask them for signs if I was on the right track. I would ask them for signs if, I should take this inspired action or that inspired action. And they would give them to me, and I would receive phenomenal signs. And this is part of the reason I write the messages from your unseen friends every Tuesday, is to help people remember that they're there and they unconditionally love you and they want to help you. And just in that little remembrance, in that little connection of the email can connect you to your own relationship with your unseen friends. And it's pretty amazing how they touch people and help people shift into a higher vibration.
Yeah.
And remind them to, to seek them out and call upon them for guidance and help and all kinds of wonderful things, because they're there.
Right.
They're
the
there.
universe is here to support us. I mean, angels have been written about for hundreds and hundreds, centuries and centuries.
Yes.
So just to reiterate, everyone, there are these wonderful 7 steps that are laid out in detail with so many tools, I tell ya, and great takeaways and ways to practice. And Boni just offers the languaging in here is just reading the text. It's very uplifting, and that alone will even change your vibration and allow you to attract on a more conscious level. We're coming to the end of the show. Boni, I want to thank you so much for joining us. This has been phenomenal. Everyone, please go out and get this book and add it to your library. I think it's definitely one of those books you absolutely have to have. And hopefully I can coax Boni into coming back again, and we'll talk about some more conscious creation and some other ideas of how you can implement that.
Thank you so much, Sylvia.
Oh, you're so welcome. Thank you. And I just want to remind everyone that I'm here every Sunday evening at 6 p.m. Pacific and 9 p.m. Eastern live. Next week, I'm going to have Diana Lang on. She's the author of Opening to Meditation, A Gentle Guided Approach, and that's next Sunday, August 2nd. If you didn't get all of the show, make sure you go to the archives. It's going to be there. You can download it, share it with your friends, and post your comments. And I hope you have enjoyed this show. Have a really spectacular week.